Hello, everyone. It is the witching hour in the transfer deadline. Andy Tate is back with us. Paddy No Lead Lawless is here, and the Monday Juma is here. So please do settle in, grab a bevy, and enjoy the final hour of the Glazers' tenure as owners in a transfer window. Andy, I don't know about you, but that chant seems all the more significant knowing that those succubuses, the Glazers, could be overseeing their final hour, poisoning our transfer windows.
Yeah, definitely, Rebel. And this could be history in the making because the next transfer window, we could have new owners, maybe Jim Bob. So who knows? Far Eastern investment, new board members, people on the way out. Whoever's there will try to butt kiss their way and try and keep a job, brown nosing, you know what I mean? But no. History in the making in this last hour because our next transfer window will be with new owners, new investment, and a new way forward, and with a great manager and a great winning mentality.
Chalk that one down. And I think, Pat, you're flying over to ensure that they leave the confines of Carrington and Old Trafford when you're visiting for the League Cup final. What weapons of mass destruction are you bringing to ensure that they don't leave any trace of glacier poisoning behind them?
Guinness for the start.
I'll be coming over a 6-pack of Guinness, a toothbrush, and my passport, and that's it.
And of course, OMONDI is here. Now, actually, Andy, Miko there is just alluding to something that we were talking about backstage. Axel Tuanzebe heading to Stoke. Will he do it on a cold night in Stoke?
Well, Axel Tuanzebe, he's coming back from injury. In his first spell in charge, he was playing really well. He even marked out Mbappe when we beat PSG. He did really well at Aston Villa in their promotion season. So I think he's earned this move now. Get some game time, get some experience, and play and help Stoke securing First Division a championship status. And fair play to him. Good luck to you, Tuanzebe, because his contract's up. And who knows, he could play as well. He plays way into a contract for Stoke, or maybe United or anywhere else. So fair play to Tuanzebe. Get some game time, play some minutes, and then just enjoy your football, mate.
Absolutely. Now, just staying with you briefly, there's two players that we thought may have left Old Trafford in this window. One is Brandon Williams. There doesn't seem to be any suitors for him. And the other is the GOAT, Phil Jones, who Eric Ten Hag recently said hasn't been fit and able to complete a full training session this season.
I know it's shocking. He survived everything, and he will be the only surviving, maybe last bit of the Glazers standing. Maybe De Gea as well. Only a few Glazer transfers left in the squad. So, and it's Phil Jones, man. He could withstand the nuclear blast and still be playing for Man United. It'll still be here when we're on to our new owners. I'm 20 years down the line. He'll be cleaning. He'll be doing the pitches or cleaning the toilets. He'll be doing that. And Brandon Williams, no takers for him. I think at this moment in time, we've got enough cover and all that. But if the games are coming thick and fast, we're going to need every player. So if Brandon can play some minutes here and there in a game where we have to conserve, we have to focus. I know we've got to balance it now with league. We've got league coming up. We've got Crystal Palace, double header with Sheepshag as Leeds. Sorry, it's the way I feel about Leeds.
We're after the watershed. You're fine. Keep going.
Look, Brandon Williams. I think he will get maybe some minutes between now and the end of the season. And just rotate. He played the other week in the reserves and all that. And every player is going to play a part between now and the end of the season. Even if you come on for a few minutes, take the sting out of the game. If we're in a winning position, just see the game out. That's your job. Like we did against Man City, Maguire and McTominay. Come on, 3 or 4 minutes, see the game out. So they'll play a part between now and the end of the season. Definitely Brandon, but not Phil Jones.
Yes, indeed. Pat, now, there was an interesting article on Twitter today, and that is that Liverpool and Borussia Dortmund have come to terms with the fact that Jude Bellingham will never be joining those dirty Scousers. How do you feel about that?
Do you know what? I've had enough of them guys for the past 2 years. Every one of the pundits saying it's the best team to ever grace the league. And then the transfers coming around. We're going to get Bellingham. Who else was the number one signing they were going to get? I think they were saying they were going to get Haaland and Bellingham at one stage last year, wasn't it?
Mbappe. You want it Mbappe?
And Bellingham. Oh, yeah. You know, we couldn't get a bleeding Big Mac now in the summer transfer. I'm going to want to go near them. So don't mind any of that shite talk. It's after 10 now. I can drop a few F-bombs and all that. But no, look, they're getting a smack of reality to know what it's like to have a team that's not playing as well as they think they are. They have Fabinho in midfield. My God, he's like one of the basketball players out of Space Jam who got his powers taken off him because he can't put the left foot in front of the right foot. Jordan Henderson's getting on. I like Jordan Henderson, but they're suffering now at the moment, and long may it continue. And I hope they go around their open top bus this year with that charity shield with a little polished cloth on it, you know?
This is their reality check.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Good enough for them.
I do need to poke the bear that is a Monday. Harry Maguire was being linked with a late move to Inter, but he wants to stay to win a cup. So maybe he wants to ride the coattails of the butcher and pick up a medal for participation in the United squad. But it does look like his time is ticking, a bit like the Glazers, and that he's probably destined for pastures new. How do you feel about that on Monday?
Yeah, look, I support all players at the club. I think Harry Maguire's putting a good shift at the club. Regardless of the criticism that he's had, he has played well at periods of time. I just don't think he's the fit for Ten Hag going forward. But I think he can do a fabulous job elsewhere. You only have to look at the how credible these clubs are that are coming in for him. You're talking about Inter Milan on loan. That's a big club that played good defensive football. I'm sure he could do well out there. If Chris Smalling can do well out there playing for Roma, and you know they're raving about him. I'm sure Maguire would do the same at one of the biggest clubs in Italy, you know. And if he doesn't go to Italy or go abroad, then I imagine it would be like a top of the half table side that would be going in for him. You're talking about West Ham, you're talking about Leicester City, quite possibly going back there, or Aston Villa. You know, these are good clubs who can pay his wage and get the best out of him. He's got a few years left. I just hope that people remember him for the right reasons, not the wrong reasons. And I do accept, as much as I supported him while he was here for the positive things that he did, I do accept that maybe we're going to see the last of Harry Maguire coming up by the summer. He'll probably be gone.
Just briefly, I want to mention that a British record deal has now been agreed for Enzo Fernandez, taking Chelsea's obscene spending to over £300 million in this January transfer window. Tyrone is saying that there's late talks between Manchester United and Lyon star Hassim Aouar, who's actually out of contract in the summer. So maybe there's talks of maybe getting a second midfielder in. But, Andy, I do want to mention a couple of outgoings from Chelsea. And one in particular is going to Paris Saint-Germain. Have Paris Saint-Germain taken leave of their senses with some of the transfer targets that they've been bringing in this window? Because there was rumours that the owners of Paris Saint-Germain were trying to flip the club in order to take advantage of the fact that Liverpool and Manchester United are up for sale and get them into Premier League, because that's where the money in the long term is going to be.
Yeah, they're just having one mad throw of the dice, I would think, to maybe try and win a Champions League. Obviously, a Farmers French League, ooh la la, Cantona. So they're always winning that. They're just having one last blast. And who knows what's going to happen? Will it be put up for sale? Will they buy it? Because they cannot own two teams, Qatari, can they? From what I've heard. So who knows what they're going to do in the next couple of weeks. It's one of those. If they win the Champions League, maybe move on. It works out. But if it doesn't, like you say, maybe, like I say, their project is done now and they move on to a new club, a new pastures anew.
Absolutely. Now, we do need to talk about some of the transfer dealings of Manchester United, and we will come to the guy that is going to be replacing Eriksen in the squad. But first, I do need to eat some humble pie. This morning, I put on Twitter that the Glazers were going to stiff us in the behind because we were going to get absolutely no one to replace the long-term injury of Eriksen. And I was criticising him for not looking at midfielders since the Donny van der Beek injury that ruled him out for the remainder of the season, because even though he wasn't playing a lot of minutes, he was an integral part of the buffer between senior players and the young players that Ten Hag was attempting to cultivate. They have now proven me wrong, but before they actually got to the guy we're going to be talking about, which is Marcel Sabitzer, this is a list of some of the players that were linked with us. Andy, is there any of those that you'd have said absolutely no way straight off the bat?
Yeah, this is all just media. United were also offered Isco, Hossaman, Saliol, Negas, and Yanaki. I don't know. It's all paper talk, innit? I don't believe any of it. It's just paper talk. And it's just to appease the fans on deadline day and maybe keep our hopes up. And this was only forced today, the lad we got, because Eriksen, our top four chances might have been in jeopardy, and we're in a cup final, and we've lost Eriksen now for a large chunk of the season and a cup final, and they basically would idly sit back and try and negotiate a price to sell the club, where if you want to basically put the club in a better sale position, you had a player or two to give you a chance of achieving the goal, and it benefits you in the long run to sell the club. Look at us. We've made Champions League. We've won a cup or two. We're going in the right direction. Show us your money. And they've actually been forced. And I think Ten Hag has played Richard Arnold and I've played the Glazers. And I commend him on that. Absolutely commend him on that. Their backs to the wall. They've panicked again, like they've done in January, like they've done in August after we got beat by Brentford, because everybody wanted their blood and everybody was absolutely geared up for World War III with them. So that's it. They've caved in again, and it's only beneficial for a Ten Hag.
Well said.
Absolutely. Now, the question is, though, in terms of what we can achieve, where do you think this signing puts us in terms of the competitions that we're fighting in? Is there anyone that you don't feel that we are going to be competitive in? And which ones do you think at the end of the season we'll be looking back and kind of going, okay, we played our cards, we dealt them for these competitions, and this is what we've ended up with?
I think this is obviously a cup final game changer. It's the same sort of level, maybe a bit more experience, a bit more skill. Like you say, tonight I did a crash course on this. The lad who we signed, Sabitzer. Marcel. I did a crash course in 15 minutes. I watched him from his time at Leipzig. I've watched what he did, his skill. He's a strong tackler. He's a good ball winner. He can set players up. He's got a good free kick on him. He scores the odd goal here or two. So I would say, man for man, he's just as good as Eriksen with a little bit more technical ability. And Eriksen's been playing out of his skin, and he needs, like you say, he needs a rest. Or like you say, this is not a rest. I say Andy Carroll's an absolute scumbag thug. You expect nothing less from somebody like that. And he's a player who could maybe win you a cup final, win you a game, get you through to the last stages of the FA Cup, maybe change it against Barcelona. I don't know. Barcelona's a free hit for me. That's my personal opinion. If we lose, we lose. Then we're only on 2 games a week. If we progress, it's all right. So it's a change. This is a game changer for league games as well. And it could win you a cup final, spur you on to do well, to do in the other competitions as well. And that's what we need. And it's only beneficial. And I'm surprised United actually did this. But fair play to Ten Hag, like I say, for playing them like the scumbags they are, the Glazers.
Absolutely. Now, Monday, I know you love comment time, but before you do dive into the array of comments that are there, we will be talking about Marcel Sabitzer, and we do have the announcement of him on to bring to share with the screen. But he's been rumored to have 3 lungs, the engine of a mastodon, and will be absolutely bombing up and down the field. What they're calling our new midfield is literally raw energy in Casemiro, Sabitzer, and Bruno. Do you think this is something that will strike fear into Premier League opponents?
Look, it's all about the squad. I think the squad depth here. We had to get someone in. We had a show last night talking about bringing in the youngsters to fill in the gaps, and that was the only option that we felt was viable at the time. We didn't know that we were going to be going out and getting a loan signing, someone as established as him. He's a top player in Europe. Now, I'm not just saying this because everyone's saying, oh, who's this guy? I do know about him. I do watch a lot of European football, youth football, this kind of thing. So I do know about this dude. He was at Red Bull for a long time, and he was killing it when Red Bull in the Champions League as well, showing his real versatility. When he's playing for Red Bull, he played in the front forward line or attacking midfielder across the line. He played right wing, more central. He picks up great positions, really intelligent. He's strong, physically strong, great feet. I wouldn't say he's technical as Eriksen. Eriksen's up there. But he's a good positive player as well, great mentals as well, and his awareness of space is amazing in the final third. When he was at Red Bull, he went on loan to Salzburg, and he scored some ridiculous amount of goals, in the Austrian league, mind you, but still shows he can play. He's so versatile, he can play in those positions. And it's not about being extra quick or extra anything. It's just this awareness and spacing of space is such a credential thing for him. He's a big time player. That's why when he went to Red Bull, they were starting to turn up the heat. He played with Mane at Salzburg, by the way. So that's why when he went to Red Bull, he started turning up the heat, playing these wider position, higher up positions in the final third, dangerous as hell. Now, when he went to sign for Bayern, which usually happens, that's always, if you're playing well in Germany, you end up getting signed by Bayern Munich. He ended up playing in a two-man midfield, which is perfect because that's where Eriksen plays. You see what I'm saying? So he's a great player, and we will see firsthand. He can pinch the ball, he can pass the ball, as Andy was saying there. He's got a good range of passing. Not Eriksen thing. He can't play it with his left foot so much, but he's a good range of passing. He reads the game really well. I think he's physically strong enough to cope with the so-called myth of being in the Premier League. And I think he's a great signing. When I heard this, I was so excited. Honestly, I was going off because I was thinking, wow, is that how we're moving? We're going to get this guy to fill in. And I just imagine if Eriksen was there, because here's the issue. He can cover Bruno and he can cover Eriksen as well. There's 2 positions in one. Because how can a guy play elite football for Red Bull in the front 3, which was Rashford, where Bruno plays, or where Anthony plays, any of those positions he's comfortable in, and then now he's playing at Bayern Munich in a midfield block, which is, this guy is just beautiful. So people comparing him to other players. He's got a ponytail. They're trying to compare it to Rabideau or whatever the French guy's name is, whatever. It's completely different players than that. Real good signing. This is the way to go forward. I was waiting for summer to get someone in that caliber, but this is a top caliber signing, and it just relieves me from all the sweating I've been doing about Eriksen missing. Now I'm like, wow, we can maintain our form and remain unbeaten for the rest of the season based on this one guy coming in who's got the energy, who is going to come in like a duck to water. There's going to be no issues with him understanding the system or whatever. He understands everything. So this is a great signing, guys. Just watch your space, and I can't wait to see him play.
So on Monday, regardless of this fella having a lovely bit of hair, as you just said, right? Is he brought in for the fact that the Man City game, let's take that for example. We've seen Christian Eriksen. No disrespect to Christian Eriksen. We all know how good he is. We all love him. He was taken out of his standard position, and Fred was brought in to do a role. Now, do you think that this Marcel was brought in to do that Eriksen role and the Fred role combined for a game like that Man City game?
Just our answers really quickly. I fed up with pigeonholing players as the Fred role.
But we're not pigeonholing them. We're going what Erik Ten Hag done for that game.
What I'm saying, Eriksen is very good technically. We know that. When comparing to Casemiro, it's a nice blend. It's like Roy Keane and Scholes. They're two different players, but they play well together. What we have with Eriksen and Casemiro is a similar thing. They've got two strengths. Their strengths and the weaknesses are different. Eriksen's not very physical, whereas Casemiro can do all that kind of thing. With this guy we're getting in now, he's a more complete player. He can do it all. As I said, he can play in advanced positions really comfortably, and he can play in this midfield block with Casemiro, whoever it is, really well as well. And then you've got options as well. You've got Fred, who can come in late in the game, for example, like you're saying, against like we saw against Man City, and have the energy to do to buzz around and get around players and that kind of thing. And that's late stage of the game. So it gives us a lot of options now going forward. And as soon as he settles in, starts playing, I think we see him with Casemiro in the midfield, those two just sitting there and dictating the play. And this is something I thought, how can we replicate the loss of Eriksen? But this guy can do it. He's got that sort of football brain, and he'll keep it simple, nice and neat and tidy. And to add, what he's got on top of Eriksen is he can pinch the ball and be a bit physical as well. Where Eriksen, we've seen him get a bit moved up and munched a few times over the season.
So he'd be ideal playing against the likes of Brentford. Sorry, Rebel.
There's just a few interesting points, actually, just to complement what Monday's saying, and he might draw a bit more information out of him Monday. There's a deep dive analysis on Twitter that I'm just after finding on Marcel. He's got a nice range of passing. He likes to play in the half spaces, often playing neat passes through the lines into the final third. Can drop deep, pick up the ball for a long switch, or progress the ball into attacking areas. In terms of his attacking output, he's played more as a number 10 for Leipzig. He runs into the box, showing fantastic timing, plus desire to score. He also plays on the edge of a defensive line, getting good positions to play a pass or find space for himself to shoot. In regards to his defending, he would be able and well equipped to play into Ten Hag's 11 behind the ball philosophy. He's a fantastic tackler of the ball. His stats are phenomenal. He wins the ball in advanced positions due to his fantastic awareness, plus his excellent pressing force. So he is an elite counter presser, according to this analysis. Physicality-wise, he's a huge physical upgrade on Eriksen. He's very strong with a good running style that allows him to have large drives to cover ground quickly. And in terms of his positioning, he's primarily lined out in a 4-3 or 4-2-3-1. And guess what we play?
Lovely.
Benefits the system.
Mm-hmm. But Monday, do you want to hit a few comments before we move along?
There's loads of comments. I want to say hi to everyone in the comments. I've read out a few already. We've gone through them. I just want to say hi to Miko as well. I was going to be speaking to you on Twitter today, Miko, and I am actually on an alkaline diet at the moment, so maybe we can talk about that. He's saying it's sad because he might never play another game for us as his contract expires in the summer. They're talking about Tanzabi here because obviously, as Andy stated earlier about playing against PSG, he's had a lot of potential. I want to say hi to Robbie Norman, the Irishman. He said his contract's up in the summer. He won't be back. That's Tanzabi. So we might be saying goodbye to him right now. Talking about the Newcastle game, Box is saying, let's get it straight. Bruno got sent off today, red card in the semi-final, but will not be suspended in the final. Yet Maguire picks up 2 yellows and misses the semi-final first leg. So he's a bit in despair about that. Zoe Media House, how you doing? Phil Jones is Joe Glazer's love child, as we were discussing earlier.
Oh, leave the lad alone. He's not that bad. It's not Phil Jones's fault. All this. It's just Glazeronomics. That's all it is.
Fox is saying here we need to permanently sell Bailey. Obviously, he got the big time 7-game suspension for some roughhouse play, kicking someone in the head. MUFC saying Man United are expected to announce Sabitzer anytime soon, so watch your space. As you're saying here, they're talking about the Leon star, Hassim Afwa. He's a great talented player. I thought he'd be a straight swap for Eriksen. Let's see if that goes through. I want to say hi to our Dutch correspondent, and that's Vincent de Mees. He's saying Sabitzer is for the present, and Gravenberch, who's a former Ajax player, youngster, would have been for the future. They're both at Bayern. Both are typical Erik ten Hag signings. Strong character first, and energy and technicality as well. So that's a great insight there from our very own Dutch correspondent. Zoe saying, isn't Enzo just the same as Jorginho? Says swap like for like in a way. I want to say hi to Boys Bad Bunny. He's given us 2 love hearts and 100%. So that means 100% love, I imagine. Yeah, thank you. Miko saying, thoughts on Forest cancelling Henderson's contract. Is that true? I don't know.
My heart fucking bleeds. Fuck off.
Sorry.
Get a job and talk sport. He likes talking to them.
Oh dear,
Exactly.
poor guy. And Vincent again is saying Erik ten Hag will never just throw youth in. He sees that as irresponsible for their development. Gradually, as subs and seniors around them is the real Ajax way. So, I want to say hi to Mr. Maguire. That's Cormac Maguire. Says delighted with Sabitzer. Have a lot of games and much needed depth. Erik ten Hag knows what he wants, and credit to him. Want to say hi to Mr. B. He's in the house, and Solo. It's the first Austrian to ever play for us, says Box. Danny Blind, a former player who's at Ajax, has now gone to Bayern, according to Zoe Media House. And he's played to close to 30 games for Bayern Munich this season. I say that's good for fourth choice. That's Miko talking to Paddy. And Paddy saying here, unbelievable. That's a definite, Mr. B. Ericsson is a huge loss. There you go.
Thank you, OMONDI. Now, I want to come back to you, Andy. There is 17 in the chat, so please do give us a like, share, and subscribe. I'll just get that bit of business through the door first. Paul Merson has been spouting a bit of nonsense today. Yeah. Yes, indeed.
You're really bringing up the cabbages tonight, aren't you?
Well, seeing as he decided to hail the signing by Arsenal of Jorginho, but in the same breath say Sabitzer is a panic buy, is he nearly reaching the level of nonsense of one Graham Stunis at this point?
Oh, yeah. Steady Ed there. He's like a gambling guy. I got 5 on it. I put 5 grand on it, as he would do back in the day. So, honestly, it's just punditry. It's just for TV. It's just for response. I don't give a fuck what Paul Merson thinks. I've met him, and he's actually generally a guy. He's a decent guy. I've met him. Met Sam Allardyce a couple of years ago at Sky Shoot in Manchester as well. Really nice guy, but he just spurts fucking waffle. Why don't you concentrate on Arsenal and trying to help them win the fucking league? Stick to what you know and fuck off and leave Man United alone. And this is the response you're getting. It's all for clickbait. So fuck you, you four-eyed cunt, Paul Merson. If Arsenal lose the league, I'll be very fucking happy. I'm sorry, I've had a few drinks.
Yeah, I'll say.
Fuck you, Merson.
I just want to apologise to the Merson family. West London is a hotbed for the young talent, and I know the Merson family really well. I know his dad, Fred, Keith, his brother, Gary.
Sorry, Amondo. I'm sorry, mate.
No. I'm not saying anything. Great family, great footballing family in West London.
They are. They will.
So big up to the Merson family. But yeah, sometimes we say things that are controversial, and that's what your job as a journalist or a commentator on these big channels. Yeah, obviously Merson was a great player, but great player doesn't mean you're great analysis all the time. So a lot of stuff that it does say is a bit like, come on, man, you're being biased here, and they get it wrong. You only have to look at Graham Souness and even Jamie Carragher talking about Casemiro recently. So, or being a top pro doesn't necessarily translate that you're going to be talking sense all the time.
I think he's a small player, Martinez. He doesn't fit in, and we know where he got that from.
But do you know what? To quote Will Smith, keep my damn club's name out your damn mouth.
Yeah, so they've got nothing to talk about because their team shit Liverpool. So they all want to talk about United. So it's always the Man United agenda.
Indeed. Despised, but never ignored, eh?
Hate adored, never ignored. Yeah. So, like I say, it fuels. We're on good times are coming, and it's a couple of clubs. Liverpool, 0 European football next season. Fuck all, out of everything. Arsenal, if they blow the league, it's your fault. It's your problem. But it's the haters, and I love it. Shithousery at its finest. We're pissing people off. Now we're on a good way back.
Do you know, though, Pat, I'm going to come to you because I know you're ticking against your battery. So, Mr. Sabitzer, he's obviously signed for us, but I am drinking in the tears of Liverpool fans today because they have been bemoaning, they've been crying about the lack of midfield presence. And they've now watched Manchester United, who today announced that Ericsson would more than likely miss the rest of the season. I don't think the spin that was put on that announcement can be viewed as anything other than that. See them go out and, in their viewpoint, within 5 minutes, replace them with someone that could probably be battling him for his first team place if they were both fit. Does it kind of add to the fact that we've got this guy across the line that there's tears of sadness in rival fans?
There is, and don't let this. People are saying that he's fourth choice at Bayern Munich and he's not this good of a player. This fella is on his first full season at Bayern Munich, and he got a calf injury and missed 6 games. That's going to keep him out of the squad, and he has to work his way back into the squad. As you heard what OMONDI said, how good of a player this fella is. Before he picked up that calf injury, he's not a very injury-prone player. This is exactly what we need at Manchester United: a good, young, hard-working player that's gonna toe the line for us. Well, the legend Christian Eriksen isn't in the side, and if he fulfills half of the duties that OMONDI's after telling us about, I'm going to be a happy little Irishman for the rest of the season, and we couldn't ask for any more or for a replacement on such a short notice.
And speaking of replacements, the OMONDI is holding the latest not a replacement, but the latest addition to the Man United agenda family right there. Is he a big fan of Marcel Sabitzer? Do you know, Monday?
What are you saying, Demas? Yeah, this is Demas, new addition. He's a youngster, so we're going to groom him in, put him on the bench initially, and then we'll see how he fares on. But he's yapping a bit. That's why I had to sort of calm him down. But yeah, look, this is a great window for us.
Daddy knows best. Daddy knows
exactly.
best.
Pack leader, ain't that right, Andy?
Exactly, sir. Exactly.
So I've got my thing is, I think it's a great end to the transfer window. We were sort of coming into the window thinking, but we're all right. But that injury and the timing of that really sort of led to this move that we've got tonight. We've got 30 minutes left, as the banner's saying here. I doubt there'll be any other business going on, but I'm really happy with the business that we've made because we've covered 2 positions with a player who's got experience and is already made and ready to go. And yeah, we just got to be delighted by this. Honestly, this is a really, really good move. I don't get excited that much, where I'm really sort of putting out videos and talking to everyone and arguing with my friend on the way home in the car and that sort of thing. I'm delighted. Trust me, this is going to be a real game changer for us. I'm saying this now. If we're on our game, I don't think any team can beat us in the league going forward. I know we've got to play Liverpool again and all this. I'm not worried. We've got the team and the players to win. I'm not worried. I think we can really push on. Top 4 for me now has just been sealed by that one signing we've made today. Congratulations to the club. We start to act like a proper club again.
Like I say, God out the Premier League when we get new owners and we get an absolute war chest in the summer, or we get a substantial amount of cash, because everybody will be moaning, absolute moaning, it's not fair. Well, it's gone full 360. So up yours to all our rivals.
Yes, indeed. Now, I do want to ask those in the chat, there are rumours circulating that Dean Henderson's loan contract has been binned by Nottingham Forest. Yet to find some confirmation of that. So there could be some permutations to Ten Hag having to deal with that bell end coming back to Manchester United. But James Tucker of the Telegraph, Andy, has said that Ten Hag has hit out at Reading striker Andy Carroll over his challenge on Eriksen that forced the emergency loan of Marcel Sabitzer. He said this is a tackle and the 2 tackles after that, meaning the ones on Bruno and Casemiro, that do not belong on the football pitch. So he's saying that essentially that there was filth, there was dirt, and that he shouldn't have actually been on pitch to put in the second 2 challenges that he done.
Yeah, you're talking about a football thug who's basically past it. Who's basically, the back of his shirt says it all, number 2. We all wear number 2's go, get flushed down the bog. So he's a shit player. He had it. He had the chances at Liverpool, at Newcastle, didn't cut it. Absolute waste of space. Concentrate on your living your life now. You've earned your money. You've earned your keep. He's a disgusting player, and I've got no sympathy. And Paul Ince, I know he's got to defend his player, but I think privately, Paul Ince would have had a right go at him. That is not the way to be a professional footballer. If this was on another player, there'd be absolute uproar. If this was on a Liverpool player, a City player, Chelsea or Arsenal, if this was done on Saka, if this was done on Marcus Rashford, there'd be absolute uproar. But this is what it is. A thug is a thug. And he's the lowest of the low. So just concentrate, retire with dignity, and stuff you Andy Carroll. I've got nothing but hate and contempt for you. You may hate me. Everybody hates me. Everybody loves me. But you are a professional footballer, and you should know better to make a tackle like that. And you can end players' careers and maybe change their lives forever. So fuck you. And I know it's past the watershed. I make no apologies for my reaction to Saturday, because when I heard he was out this afternoon, because I've been out the day with family, I was absolutely fuming. Fuming.
You know what?
Amen.
When you look at a game like that, it's an ex-Premiership player who was sold for like £35 million, England international as well. You need to come better than that, because the only highlights he had during the game is, I'm going to show how strong I am, going through Lindelof, and then doing that to Eriksen from behind. I just think that's low. That's the dark arts in full effect here. You were out of the game. You weren't getting a sniff. Maguire had you in his pocket, and then you go and do something stupid like that. Oh, that's the highlight of the game, is it? You want to walk off and say, ha, ha, I done him, or whatever. I don't know if that still exists in the game, but we saw it live. You're out of the game. You didn't have nothing to show for regards to talent, and then you go and do something like that. Like,
the reaction of the Stretford end says it all.
That's why
reaction of the Stretford end, are you a man or are you a woman? That's up to you, Andy Carroll. You played like a fucking woman. That's it.
Absolutely. Definitely a plonker.
If I ever meet Andy Carroll in a dark alley or something like that, and you've heard what I've said, I'll take my shirt off and I say, come, let's do it.
Definitely a plonker of the highest order, to quote Del Boy. But a Monday.
Oh, yeah. 24-carat plonker.
But indeed, I do want to ask you both actually a question. We were discussing this tackle on my tea group today, and apparently the distinction that made the referee not act was the fact that these bloody studs weren't showing up, even though it was an absolute hatchet of a bloody tackle. Is that a problem with the current rules?
Not rules. Let me just say this, all right? Sometimes it's best to be a player to understand what he's doing there. He gave him a bit of afters. He said, right, you're going to feel my full weight on you. I'm going to make it look clumsy, but I'm really trying to take you out of the game. Look at that. From behind, and followed through with his full weight, big man like that, and say, yeah, I've taken you out, but I'm going to get away with it because it looks clumsy. You understand what I'm saying? These are the dark arts that he's presenting here. So if the referee was a bit savvy and understood, okay, you're trying to try it there, take a card for that. You take a man out of his career for like 3-4 months.
He set out to intentionally do something because Reading were not in the game at all, and they were being outplayed. So he had it in his mind to hurt somebody, definitely. And he should know better with what's happened with Eriksen as well. She saw a bit more fucking respect. Because I remember Brandon Williams clashed with him last year at Brentford, and he panicked, and he picked him up, and he had a big hug, and he had a big high five. So Andy Carroll should know fucking better about that after what he's been through.
Absolutely. Monday, do you want to take a few more comments away there while we have a troll through the goings on the transfer window?
Yeah, so going way back, Mr. B said, I've liked his comment, said, yes, he is, but Fred and Matt Bumberhole won't be starting. I love that. He really doesn't like Tommy and Fred. We've been through some hard times on this channel, and Mr. B has been witness to it. Emma's saying here, I do wonder if Sabitzer and Kaz playing together will allow Manu or the other youth players in the 10 role, as they're a bit more defensive with Eriksen and bit more defensive than Eriksen and Casemiro. We call him Kaz. We've got nicknames now, Kaz. Like we know him personally. But yeah, I love him. Box is saying, I think Fred and McTominay won't be first teamers, but they will benefit from Ten Hag's coaching. Mr. Maguire, Cormac is saying, anyone else buzzing for the return of Sancho? I think we all are. Miko, big up to you again. He's saying, I rate Sancho. That youth is dark, which in London terms means really good. Dark, yeah, as in, yeah, the man. He's the man. Michael Hill, how you doing? He says, Andy Carroll is a biker Grove Nunes.
I applaud that. That's from my era, Biker Grove. Where are you, man? Biker Grove, spooky like.
Wiggy. Football Power Hour is saying terrible player. Naturally, that's about Andy Carroll. Box is saying, if this was done by Maguire, talking about the tackle that Andy Carroll made, they'd be calling for Maguire to be banned for a year. Box is also saying, hopefully Eriksen rehabs at Carrington. He's a football in mind, and his great presence will still will be missed. I think he's trying to say here as well. Emma's saying here, I'm sorry, but we don't put better tackles in than that. I don't compare him to us. I don't know what's going on there in the comments. Maguire saying, forgot Carroll. He's done. We won the game. Forget him saying, forget Carroll. Let's not talk about him. He's saying, was the tackle from Carroll any worse than the one Casemiro got booked for, which led to a yellow card and missing the Arsenal game? It's a good point, Andrew Williams. That was a bit high. I thought that was a nasty challenge. But it was.
Was it intentional? He did it to stop Zaha from going in on an attack. He took one for the team. Andy Carroll's was intentional. He didn't give a toss. Casemiro done it for the team and prevented an attack from Crystal Palace from equalising. All right, they did it late on, but he took one for the team, and that's what professional football is about, not setting out to hurt people.
Just to add to that as well, Eriksen played on after this tackle for about 20 minutes, so no one was really aware how serious the injury was. Has anyone got a diagnosis to say exactly what the injury is? I haven't heard that yet. But
ankle ligaments.
Oh, a ligament. Okay, there you go. Kalula's saying here, I'm happy Sancho taking his time. I think when he does come back, he will be on fire. Box is saying Sancho will be like a new signing. Kalula again saying Andy Carroll took the mickey the whole game. She's also saying, well, he was sent off. Yeah, rightly so. And double standard saying Andrew Williams, talking about the Casemiro compared to the Andy Carroll challenge. Andrew is a Man United fan, by the way. Bruno got sent off tonight. It's fair. Good point, actually. And the free match ban, but doesn't miss the finals. Talking about Guimaraes. It's an ankle injury. Thank you from Kallula. Box is saying Carroll looked a sad old man playing football who could no longer compete. He was angry, led to making dirty challenges. It's a good point. Emma's saying it's disrespectful to compare Andy to us women.
I'm sorry, Emma. I'm sorry. I'm just very angry. And I'm sure a lot of Man United fans are angry. And I apologise to you, Emma. But like I say, absolutely fuming with Andy Carroll. Give me 5 minutes in a room with him. I'll tell him how the United fan base feels. Believe me.
And finally, Andrew Williams, who did bring up the double standards, is saying the worst tackle of the weekend was the Fabinho one. I haven't seen that, but
I've not seen that one.
Yeah.
Okay. I've got some breaking news for you. Sam Luckhurst, who's a bit of a bellend himself, has tweeted that Ten Hag has now confirmed that McTominay will be out for weeks with a muscular injury. So Scott McBumhole, as Mr. B called him, is going to be missing himself through injury.
Can we get Messi in 15 minutes and Neymar?
Nico saying here, we have 15 minutes to sign Schneider and get Gaten. Very funny. Very funny. Let's go.
I've got Fabrizio on here. I'm just trying to think what anything that happens. Oh,
what I do want to ask you, Andy, is obviously with roughly 15 minutes left in these Glazier dickheads' tenure in ownership of Manchester United, and hopefully the last sphere of influence that they'll ever have in a transfer window. Looking back on the windows of the past, last year it was a complete letdown. We got absolutely nobody when Rangnick had identified cheap, inexpensive players that could have pushed us into a top 4 position. But in the time that the Glaziers were in charge with their bagman, Mr. Woodward, since Fergie left, what window really hit you the most as being one that got away? Where did it all collapse and give you the most resentment to what was going on in our club?
When we signed Zlatan, Pogba, Mkhitaryan, we won the League Cup and we won the Europa League, and we wanted to push on to challenge for the league. We wanted Perisic, we wanted some defenders, and that transfer window, Mourinho blew his gasket. We got who did we get? We got Legrand, we got Delo, and I think that was one more player as well.
Lindelof, wasn't it?
Lindelof, yeah. I've got nothing against Lindelof and all that. In January, we bought Lindelof in January of 2018. We reached an FA Cup final that season, and we wanted to push on. You know, and we never got the signings Mourinho wanted, and that's from finishing second, from winning the cups to finishing second, FA Cup final, lost to Chelsea. You think we could? We fell short a bit. We fell short. We got Alexis Sanchez in the same year, didn't we? In January, and Mkhitaryan went the other way. But it was just the transfer window that summer which led to everything. Oh, you can't have this, you can't have that, and that's what led to the season we had with Jose Mourinho. An absolute bitch fest of whining, moaning, and just basically just trying to save pennies and trying to dictate the manager who really, the manager should always be right. And this is the first manager we've had who is not a yes man, who's playing the board absolutely like a pack of cards. I'm the dealer. I'm dealing the cards. You will do what I say. You will do what I do. Because if you get rid of me, you've seen what happened with the Super League, and you've seen the reaction. Like I say, there will be hell on earth if the Glazers decided to sack Erik ten Hag and stay, because basically you'll have a gun to the back of your head and it'll be, the trigger is ready. But hopefully, like you say, that was the worst transfer window with a lot. And I say, last few years we've panicked. I say we got Varane, we got Sancho. We sort of we all got nostalgic then, and when we were Ronaldo, we all got good there. Is that we all went back to the late 2000s, like I say, didn't work out. Radnick last year, if we made a signing or two, it would have made a difference. Changed the attitude of the players. Ollie wouldn't have been sacked, but it's what it is now. And these last moments of the Glazers regime transfer window, fuck you to all of them. And that goes there for Ed Woodward, Richard Arnold, Murtog, because you're going out. Sooner or later, you're going to get that P45. You're going to get a knock on the door, and you're going to get your fire. You're going to get fired. Hopefully out of a cannon. You're going to be launched. 21 good salute.
On Monday, I'm not going to ask you the same question, but I'm after seeing an interesting take on the whole Henderson situation. In the summer, Henderson went to Forest because he didn't want to show Ten Hag what he's capable of. Well, he showed Cooper, and he thought, fuck that, we need Davis.
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? It's like you think you can walk away and there'd be no comebacks. But now he has to return to Manchester United, I imagine. And the fan base, it seems, is all against him, you know. I do think, I do feel a little bit sorry for him, because if you go back a certain period of time, he was under Ole Solskjaer, he was getting games and it was fighting it out with De Gea. And if he wouldn't have got injured, or whether he was ill with the flu or something before the season, he might have started the season and it could have been a different story, because they were trying to sort of weigh it up. There was a period where he was playing the Premiership games and De Gea was playing the Cup games, which suggests that he was senior and clear of De Gea, according to the management of the club at the time. So he had an opportunity. Just really unfortunate, I felt. I've always felt that he deserved a chance. He's someone who's come through the club. I felt that his distribution would have been more beneficial to us, because the issues with De Gea's distribution have been going on for a long time now. And he signed a new contract as well. We don't know, I mean, because at the same time, Eric Bailey signed a new contract around that time, and Henderson signed a new contract. And when you're signing a contract with your agent, you want some sort of guarantees, don't you? So in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, well, some contract must mean I'm going to get first team football, because that's what Bailey was saying. I remember listening to his interviews, sort of saying, yeah, I've been injured. It's time for me to turn it around. Is it to say, through negotiations, he'll be getting first team football? And I think the same applied for Henderson as well. I thought that he must have felt he'd been first team football. This is why sort of Mr. B and other people said that some players have been lied to or let down in that respect. So he said a few things. He's been a bit peed off, as you say, and he's gone out on loan again. And whereas he must have felt he's proved himself already, and going to Nottingham Forest and then thinking that was the end of it, and saying F you on his way, not literally F you, but with the comments that he came out with, it feels a bit shameful now to come back to the club, knowing the fans.
He should stay away. He should, if his contract's been terminated, I'd just say stay away from Carrington. Yeah. We don't want you anywhere near this place.
Absolutely.
Just stay away. Go and train at the gym. Go and play for fucking somewhere non-league. Just stay away, because we don't need bad apples to rock the cart. I say we've got 3 experienced goalkeepers. We don't need a bad apple causing trouble.
But Andy, I mean, this is someone who was an England international or going into camp with England for big competitions at one point. So you can see it's there's a thin line between playing well and then falling out, and then you're not even in contention with Nottingham Forest.
Understand
You're not in contention with England
I can
anymore.
understand him being upset. I can understand that. Like Jesse Lingard was upset as well. But you don't air your grievances on a national radio station.
Yeah.
You talk to it in-house. You keep it in-house. Once you do that, you haven't got a cat and else chance of even getting a career for Old Trafford for next season. You know what I mean? You had your chance. You blew it. All right, you had COVID. It's the way the dice rolls in professional football at the start of that season during lockdown. And you were out for a while. Promises were made. I've been made promises in my life. I remember 12 years old and never got the Optimus Prime I wanted. It doesn't work out like that. Doesn't work out. But look at me now. I got it 40 years later. Fuck off. You know what I mean? It doesn't work out in life. Promises are promises. They're meant to be broken. So, let's just say, football's football.
Do you know what, Andy? Dean Henderson's a dirty, rotten Decepticon. Really is what he is.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
But just interestingly, we are 7 minutes away from the end of the transfer window. We still haven't got the official announcement of Mr. Sabitzer. But what I do want to touch on, and I want to go back to you, Andy, on what we've just learned from Eric Ten Hag about Scott McBumhole, is given that we already knew Donny van der Beek and Eriksson were out of contention for the rest of the season, the fact that Scott's injury and the significance of Scott's injury has been kept so quiet, it would have actually been untenable to think that Ten Hag would have been left without a midfield signing now in January, because he would literally have had his 3 starting senior midfielders and a bunch of kids.
Yeah, I don't think we would have got this signing if Eriksson's injury wasn't so severe. Man United would have remained quiet, and despite, they would have come out, there's no value in the market, and this, that, the other. When you're pushed into a corner, you have to do something, and they've had to do it today. I mean, if it was a different manager, if this was still Radnick, Man United would have gone there. No, you stuck with what you got. You stuck with what you got, telling you. Absolutely. So, Mr. B and his Transformers, you know it, brother. You know it. You got your broccoli. I'll stick with my Transformers. I'll tell you. But I say, as the last remnants of the Glazer transfer subside and evaporate into nothingness, we only can look forward to the game tomorrow. We are 90 minutes away from Wembley. And this will be a great feeling to get to Wembley tomorrow night. So we have to get the job done tomorrow. And it's onwards and upwards. New owners, new transfer war chest, couple of cup finals. And who knows who we can get in the summer. Maybe we'll absolutely stun the world with a signing or two. You know what I mean? Marquee signing. We'll try to stop it. But you know what? There's Bellingham. Oh, there's Kane. I tell you what, let's make it an hat-trick. There's Mbappe. Ooh la la.
Andy, I do want to ask you about something. The Man United agenda cameras apparently were backstage after your show earlier, and you interviewed Mr. B, and it's believed that he said on that interview that should Manchester United fail to win the fixture tomorrow, that he will be eating a full broccoli pizza live on the Friday Night Takeaway. Is there any truth to this rumour?
I can now deny or confirm these rumours because these are new to me. And unlike my tax returns, like a certain MP down in London, I can only confirm or deny because I will not be sacked for my position because I cannot confirm or deny. Yeah, I'll be sacked 24 hours later by my good friend, the Prime Minister.
But on Monday, the time is ticking down. There's 3 minutes left in what is hopefully the final Joel Glazer influenced transfer window. I saw an interesting quote as to what exactly is needed at Manchester United. Our training ground, radical overhaul. our stadium needs proper engineers to go in, figure out how to preserve the historical elements of our stadium, and then bring it in to this century. So there's a body of work there. Just how daunting a task is it for any prospective owner?
Not really. I mean, when you take over such a huge club like Manchester United, you got to look at what it takes to sort of to make things good in the future, you know. And you got to have a project. You got to have some performance indicators. You got to say to yourself, right, obviously the stadium needs doing, and they would be aware of that. You got to go into it knowing that that's an issue. You got to know that there's the training ground and all these things need to be sorted out. So when you prepare your bid, you got to know this is. It's part of the package, isn't it? It's the whole thing. The whole total package is the Man United Football Club, not just buying the club and just sitting back and doing nothing, you know? So we do want the right investors. I don't know who the people are. I'm sure we're going to find out soon. But the right people, whoever's agreeing to the deal, it's not about the highest bidder. I just think it's got to be the person that has the best manifesto. And they should present it. Maybe I'd love it. They could present it to the fans or say, look, this is what we got on the table. This is what we're going to provide, like an election, you know, sort of thing. Not to say we vote, but fans need to be kept in the know, I think, or at least there should be like someone like Andy should represent us and go out there and find out what's really going on. Because otherwise,
I don't know about me, but I agree.
Andy, innit? I mean,
I know nothing of the world of money and commercials, but
yeah,
I could amplify it with passion and my love for Man United. But I think fan representation with the new owners is the way forward.
Yeah.
And whoever is elected, or maybe with Must and all that, I would say all together we all want the same thing, and that's just to be the love of United and the glory days back. With the new Old Trafford, maybe don't want a new stadium, and we just all we want is to be successful again. That's it, and keep the heritage going.
Yeah.
I do have some breaking news. There's 2 deal sheets after being submitted. One by Manchester United, one by Chelsea. We are going into overtime on the Enzo deal for Chelsea, and the Sabitzer deal is also going into overtime. It has not been completed before the 11 o'clock deadline. And I can confirm now the window is shut. So we are now currently finalising the paperwork. And to comply with UEFA and FIFA guidelines, we now have to have this completed and registered on the system by midnight tonight. But
so
Manchester
United... you still got an hour. So we still got an hour. So we haven't messed it up. So I wasn't going to swear then. We haven't messed it up. We've got an hour.
We've got an hour. We have got our deal sheet in time. So it is going into overtime. So that will be...
I remember Arsenal did this a few years ago when he signed that German lad, wasn't it? I forgot what it was called. For 42 million, he went into overtime. Him who Arteta got rid of, he went to Galatasaray in the Turkish league, didn't he? The German lad. So, yeah. I can understand that. I can truly understand that.
Before we do kind of some our feelings of the window, and I've seen a tweet from Nottingham Forest. Apparently, they're not done because they've tweeted the lights are still on. So possibly they're getting yet another player. And I suppose we, as United fans, we probably have a small graw for Nottingham Forest because it was where a certain Mr. Roy Keane was developed and came to us. But there's a lot of teams doing a lot of things to try and survive.
So are they bringing in the Avengers for Wednesday or what? This sounds like they're bringing in the Avengers in. That's the only way they're going to get to Wembley, I'm telling you. But fair play to Nottingham Forest, Roy Keane, and in the words of a fairly famous Brian Clough, now then, young man, now then. So, I say Brian Clough, bless him, and I'm sure Nottingham Forest will stay up this season, and fair play to him, because they have got a soft spot, because it was that 80s football vibe I grew up with, and Nottingham Forest were like one of the teams you love to hate as a kid, but you respected it as well.
What I did want to ask you, though, is given the amount of deals that have been done by clubs that are fighting to avoid relegation, obviously Phil Mitchell, who's now in charge at Everton Football Club, His club have been Sean Dyche, John Mitchell.
I have to say, Phil Mitchell's hell of EastEnders to bleeding Goodison Park. Jesus, I had to compute then, sorry.
But they've done nada. At this point, do you think they are favourites for the drop?
No, because a new manager like Sean Dyche knows how he's dodged the bullet so many times with Burnley. He's a fighter, and Burnley were tough to beat. They always got results and ground it out. So I do believe Everton will stay up. And if the only way is to kick and punch your way out of a situation, grind it out, 1-0's here, 1-0's there, 2-0's. Fair play to they've got a good manager there. And like you say, he's been out of the game. And Burnley, maybe they were wrong to sack him, but that was their reaction. And like I say, now they've got Vincent Kompany in. And it would be interesting next season. I'll say if Vincent Kompany comes up and Everton go down, but maybe they'll meet each other next season. But I do see Dyson getting a tune out of Everton. Like I say, Everton, I got no gripes with Everton. Like I say, it's the other part, Stanley Park, I can't stand. So Everton have cost us stuff in the past, but fair play. I think Sean Dyche will get them out of a problem. He really will.
And
that's the only way you can fight out of a situation. Bitch, scrap, and fight. That's it.
Yeah.
Actually, interestingly, it's not the Avengers that Nottingham Forest have got a deal over the line. It's just been announced. It is a bald man by the name of John Joe Shelby. He's been a pain in the hole for Manchester United fans in the past, and it looks like he wants to be a pain in the hole for Manchester United fans again.
Good move.
Is he eligible for tomorrow?
Nope, none of these signings are eligible tomorrow. So
go for that. Go for that.
Just to wrap up, there was a comment from Mr. B about it being a 2-hour deal sheet window. That is correct in terms of the Premier League registration. However, there are different rules for transfer matching.
Because it's European team, yes.
Yeah.
If this was a Premiership team, we'd be in trouble. Well, that's fair enough then. The paperwork will be done by 1 a.m.
On Monday, do you have any final comments to make or any final comments that you want to pick up on?
Yeah, just going back to the Everton thing, we were with Bournemouth fan Craig. He was suggesting that Everton would go down, and I'm thinking Everton's such a big club. When I was growing up, they were like the top 5. They were big 5. Everton were one of them. Howard Kendall. They were such a great team. Such a huge club, and I'll never expect them to go down. They've always been in the top division, the top flight for as long as I've been alive. I know that for a fact. So I remember there was a relegation last day scrap they had. I think Joe Royle was their manager, where they just about made it through. And since then, they've been sort of treading water and doing okay. So it would be really sad for me if I saw Everton go down. They need to sort it out. And I think
never been relegated. Been relegated. Like Arsenal. Always been in the top 5.
Yeah, and I think that'd be shocking. So just listen to Andy there and just talk about Sean Dyche. And I have been watching a lot of Sean Dyche's coaching videos and the way he talks. And I think he's a very good coach. I think he's very organised, keeps things simple. And a team like Everton in the situation they're in will make them hard to beat. I think this is a great opportunity for him as well. If he does save them and then they can develop them for next year, I think that's a good side because he never really had the result.
Contract? Is he just got to the end of the season? Or is
I've got no idea. But I think if he does save them, then quite likely he could be given a contract. And I think if he's given the contract at a bigger club like Everton, he never really had the resources at Burnley.
Do you know what his first game is? He bats him as far his first couple of games. He's got Everton. He's got Arsenal.
Oh, God.
And he's got Liverpool on the horizon as well. So good luck to him. You're going to need it all. And if you want to do us a favour, Sean, fair enough. Beat them 2 for us, and it'll help our top 4 ambitions, I'm telling you.
No doubt. But yeah, overall, I just want to say it's been a great window. And I think I love doing shows like this. All the news is coming in. Thanks all the guys just chipping in with all the information coming in. I know CALLULA was suggesting that just giving us a few last-minute deals. The right back from Sporting's come in to Tottenham has finally gone through, according to Sky Sports and CALLULA. And the funny comment here saying, Paul Tierney saying, Andy Tate is mate going on a Valentine date with Andy Carroll. Because
I'll bring my shotgun. Yeah, don't worry about that.
Can I just
Yeah.
make a big announcement? Because I have just been consulting the records, and the Man United agenda is literally a stone's throw away from that 3K sub milestone. So there's 16 of you in the chat. We would love, absolutely love, if any of you there haven't yet subscribed, to hit that 3K tonight and give Earl a very happy deadline day ending. So if you haven't, please do give us
Let's
a
get
sub.
to 3,000 and Mr. B will eat that broccoli pizza on Cup Final Day. Just click the like and share subscribe button, people. Do it. And we'll record it live. Broccoli pizza. Ooh.
Actually, Andy, to wrap up today's stream, I do want to ask you, obviously there's a number of runners and riders, Sir Jim Ratcliffe being one of them for the ownership of the club. Do you think Sir Jim would be able to get ownership from the Glazers, or do you think it's more likely that we will be seeing some state ownership?
I'm for both, basically. I'm all for a hometown buy from Manchester, Failsworth, just up the road. I mean, it's not often. It's once in a lifetime ambition. You get one of them days where you got to take the moment. I hope Jim gets it, maybe, but he say, can he compete with the likes of Dubai, Man City, Newcastle, and if somebody Dubai comes in, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, I'm all for it as long as it's got the best interests of the club. And sometimes you just got to play the bad boys at their own game. I'm all for it because I'm sick of it. I want to rule the world just as much as they do. That's what I'm doing. And then if we have to go to the dark side, so be it. I'm all for it because I've had it up to here with 17 years of absolute garbage from owners who never put absolute penny into the club. Absolute, never put a penny in.
100%, Andy. And not even when they actually took the deeds, they didn't even pay for the club then. But what I would love, my wish for 2024, is that we have Anfield in a title run-in, last couple of games of the season, and we win the bloody league at Anfield. Give me that for 2024.
Yeah, Man City finish out of the European places, and welcome back to fucking reality.
Absolutely. But it has been an absolute pleasure. We have had an absolute ball over the last hour and 10 minutes. We will have to wait until the morning to see the confirmation of Marcel Sabitzer, but I think everyone is delighted at how quickly he said, absolutely, yes, get me on the plane to Ten Hag. I believe in that project. So we will see how that transpires overnight. And from us for tonight, we will see you again tomorrow for the watch along of the second leg of the EFL Carabao Cup.
Go to Wembley!
Come on.
Yes, indeed. Tune in tomorrow for the watch along. Good night and have a good sleep.
Good night.